Backcap, episode 8, E3 edition! I am your awful flu-ridden host, Timber, aka Sherpa Superhero, and I am joined today by my fellow community coaches, one of which will be joining us a little later. That's Jeremy Relic. He'll be here to mess everything up. Thanks. And I'm going to go ahead and give it to my lovely community coaches to introduce themselves, starting with Blade.
Hi everybody, I'm Blaine. You may know me on the internet as Pyro or Pyro Insane. Yeah, hi. I got a beard. It's cool.
It's cool. It's so cool. All right, Kyle. How about yourself? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm hot as balls in this onesie, and I'm Kyle or Exapo, and you guys know me for basically wearing onesies in the community.
And Mr. Young, we all know you.
Yeah, I'm Sir Goodfood. I'm that community coach guy that keeps helping people. By the way, you spelled my name wrong.
Young? Oh,
That's
no!
fine. It's fine,
Oh, I'm the worst.
Wow.
You're so young.
No worries about it. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Ruined it.
Ruined it. All right, guys, the show's over. Young ruined it. It's done. I do
Fail.
apologize for that. I'm terrible with names. So we did have some technical issues last time, so let me know if you guys are experiencing anything like that again, and we'll do our best to fix it. But yeah, so the first technical issue is Young, so just refer to him as Sir Goodmood. This is why I don't use real names. So let's get down to it. This episode we're going to be focusing on E3 and our experiences of E3 and joining Motiga to help run their booth and other such things at E3. So, I'd like to start with first, what is a community coach? Can you guys explain to those watching what exactly we are in the community? What do we do? We'll go ahead. I'm looking at Sir Goodmood first, in your own words. What do you say?
All right. So, a community coach, quite frankly, we're not anything that special. We're just members of the community who want to help out. We're very knowledgeable in the game, and we take the time to understand how the game works, the mechanics, the characters, all that kind of stuff. And then we take that knowledge and then we teach new players with it. And a lot of players have asked, how do you become a community coach? You're like, how do I become a community coach and all that? But honestly, you just gotta know how the game works, know the mechanics of it, how the game flows and so on, know the characters, and be willing to convey that information to other players in a very friendly and helpful way. And I actually didn't realize this, but you kind of become a role model very, very quickly if you do become a community coach, and you kind of get held to a higher standard of being that respectful, knowledgeable guy who helps everyone out. And one of the biggest things is if you don't know the answer, it's fine as long as you admit that you don't know the answer, because Motiga has all the answers right now. So if you don't know the answer, you can always find someone who does. So that's what a community coach is, in my opinion.
Excellent. Pyro, do you have anything to add to that? What would you... There you go, I fixed it.
What I would say is that community coaches, like we are ambassadors, is a good way to think about it. To people who are not part of the community, we're some of the people are kind of on the front lines of like welcoming those people in. A lot of us are really active in the community, like on the subreddit, and on Twitter and all that stuff, to really kind of help bring people into this awesome community that we do have. So that would be the next thing. And then, of course, some of us, like, E3, we get to go around to shows with Motiga. They invite us to help them show off the game, because in a lot of cases we're, extremely passionate and know a bit more about the developers.
Boy, are we passionate. And Kyle, what about yourself? In your onesie? Give us some insight as to what you feel.
Yeah, everyone kind of hit the nail on the head there. I guess just being awesome and just loving the game basically is what a community coach is. I mean, everyone else already kind of explained it, so I get the crap end of the stick.
You're welcome.
What those two guys said, and then just having fun and just talking to people. That's a big part, because you're always constantly communicating with other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah. I agree. I think you guys really did it perfect, especially Mr. Young with that intro of "We are not that special. Anyone can do this," and that's something to keep in mind as well with community coaches. And we're always looking for more community coaches to help expand the community and foster this incredible community that we already have. So. All right. So tell me, fellas, what was your first feelings when you got that email, when you got that call of, hey, we would like you to come to one of the biggest gaming trade shows in the world? Exapo, what was that feeling for you when you got that initial call?
When Troy asked me, I didn't know what to say because I was like, wait, he just asked the kid that wore a onesie and got 23,000 views for dancing for Motiga fanboy band. I was like, this is so random. So I was like pretty excited. I kind of like jumped around my room, and then he was like, okay, you can't tell anyone else in the community until we announce it. I was like, awesome. So I just told all my friends that like don't play the game and stuff. So I was like pretty excited about it. I always wanted to go like Los Angeles and California. So it was awesome. It was a great experience. And yeah, I was just super excited about it. I wasn't really excited about E3. I was just more excited about California, to be honest. And it was a blast. So.
Awesome. Mr. Young, I'm looking at you next.
All right, so when Troy told me that, or when Troy invited me to go to E3, it was kind of like one of those like, what is this really like? Is this really happening moments? I was kind of freaking out a little bit. But it didn't really hit me until a couple of days later when Relic found out, and he was like, "Oh, who else is going? Sir Goodman's going, right?" So he comes to talk to me. He goes, "Hey, Sir Goodman, are you excited?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm pretty excited. It seems pretty cool. I'm humbled by the opportunity." And then Relic goes like, "That's not the appropriate response." And then he showed me the videos and like the photos and just like the sheer size of how crazy E3 was. And then it finally hit me. I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is an incredible opportunity that I've like never even imagined was possible." And just like the sheer enormous size of the entire thing just blew my mind. And I sent Troy an email quickly afterwards, freaking out basically, in words about how crazy it was.
Excellent, Mr. Blaine.
Well, so Troy messaged me and he's like, hey, we need to talk. I'm like, oh, when? And he was like, so, yeah, we'll probably talk tomorrow, like 6:00. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, what did I do? But then Troy and I get on a Skype call, and he was just like, hey, yeah, we're gonna do this thing. It's called E3. Do you want to go to E3? And I was like, yes.
I don't know if you've
Yes,
heard
I
of
do.
E3.
Yeah, no, I ever since I was a young gamer and I became more aware of like the industry and the shows and like the more aware of than just like going to GameStop and seeing games and be like, oh, that's cool, and like following game studios and becoming like kind of that hardcore gamer type fan guy. I knew about E3 since I was, I don't know, probably like 10 or 12, and I was just like, that is the place that I want to go someday. And well, Motiga made it happen, and it was amazing.
Dream makers. That's awesome. I think I had a very similar experience to yours where Troy was like, we need to talk. And I was like, oh God, what did I do? I'm getting kicked out of Gigantic. My life is oh my God, what could he want? And he was like, E3. And I was like, sweet. And then everyone was like, E3, shut up. Do you know nobody's allowed to go to E3 except for like media and game companies? And I was like, shut up. And I was so stoked as well. But yeah, I had that initial reaction of oh God, I'm in so much trouble. What did I do? So awesome. And so Jeremy will be joining us hopefully shortly. I got my phone waiting for his message. And we do not soon TM, and we unfortunately don't have Gas Mask, who was also an incredibly community coach at E3. So if you see him, thank him for his hard work. Ask him how his trip was. It's going to be great. All right, so moving on. Let's see. So what how do you prep for something like this? What advice would you give for people prepping for a trip like this? How was that like? And we're going to go ahead and start with Blaine.
Well, a couple of tips. If you've never been to a convention, expect lines to be long, and there's all sorts of stuff happening. Prepare to be, at least try to prepare for almost like a mental overload. Like when you walk into that place, like you've never seen this many people in one place unless you actually have been to a convention before. Always bring way more pairs of socks and underwear than you think you might need. Like seriously, like if you're going for 5 days, bring like 8 pairs, because you're going to want to change socks as often as possible. And you never know what might happen. You might be at an after party and somebody spills, something all over you. Have an extra pair of pants. Like seriously, like preparation is key for this. I actually went to PAX one year and forgot to pack underwear completely. And so I had to buy new underwear.
Oh, no.
So I've learned the hard way more than once. Bring aspirin, bring Excedrin, bring vitamins, all that kind of stuff. Like think about how you normally take care of yourself, and then like bump that up a notch, because when you're at a convention, you're going to be going like crazy 24/7, and you need to make sure you're extra taking care of yourself so that you can make it through. And even sometimes the best prepared of us, as Timber is making an example of, end up getting sick, and it's just a reality of it. You've got thousands of people in the same place. Like you're gonna pick up something, and it's inevitable for most people. But anyway, that's my advice. Just be extra prepared.
Extra prepared. Eat healthy. I wish I had taken immunity boosters, because I've had the flu for 3 days now. So I apologize for coughing in everyone's ear. But yeah, absolutely, that's excellent advice. So Exapo, aside from your onesies, what else would you prepare for?
Just be mentally prepared, because especially going as a coach, you're gonna repeat the same things a jillion freaking times, and it's not annoying, but it's it does take a toll on you. Day 3, you're kind of yeah, I've said this about 1,000 times today. Master Chief and Spartan Locke have been talking to me the whole time. Little things will eventually just start cracking you down at the end of the day, but you still have fun. I just packed kind of normal. This is the first time I've traveled on my own, so I just packed kind of light, and I didn't have any issues, but I wasn't out partying like Blaine. So it was fun. I mean, just prepare yourself, because it is long days. Drink a ton of water, because your voice is going to start getting sore, and when you don't have to talk, literally just don't talk, especially if you're being a community coach. Not like me, I'll just talk constantly, but if you don't have to talk, it's a good time not to talk to save your voice.
Yeah, absolutely. Me and Thor met for lunch once, and we didn't say a word to each other. We just ate in silence, because we were both just in the same boat. All right. Young, I fixed it, by the way, Young. Did you see I fixed it for you? Your name's fixed.
Yes.
Nailed it. So, how did you prep for E3?
So I had a little bit of a panic moment, even more so, as the day got closer, because I realized I had my clothes, I had a bit of trail mix, and I had an extra bag for potential swag and stuff, and that was all I packed, and that was it. And I was I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting something very, very important, but I don't know what it is. So I was in the game box asking players hey, what should I pack? I told Relic, hey Relic, I have all this stuff. What else should I pack? And he was like, no, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. That's not the answer. I wanted to hear, so I started freaking out even more. I wanted to hear something oh, you're forgetting this important thing and this other important thing, and don't forget these 3 other things. And I didn't hear that. I was just oh, you'll be fine. We'll probably be busy on our feet the whole time, which was true. And the second thing was you don't have to try to do everything, especially if it's your first big convention or E3 itself. So a lot of things, just a whole bunch of stuff happened, and thankfully we didn't really have to do everything at the same time, because that's not, you don't have to do that at the first E3 you go to. You'd like to, but you don't have to. So that's one of the advice that I would give. Make sure you have your clothes, you have some snacks, but beyond that, just enjoy yourself and have fun.
Beautiful. We kind of touched up on the parties. Everyone has their limits. How hard did you guys party? Would you recommend partying
Oh my God.
as hard? I kind of want to get a little into that kind of after E3. Everyone's very curious about, we know you work so hard. How hard do you guys play?
Yeah, so we party so hard that Sir Goodmood can't order a pizza. That's how hard
Oh my
we
goodness!
party.
Don't remind me that about.
Out of pure tiredness, we couldn't order a pizza. That was my only party experience. I'm not
We
21,
spent
so I
1
didn't get to
hour.
do anything.
Oh, but
We
you.
spent 1 hour desperately trying to order a pizza, and we just could not.
Denied service and everything, huh?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
were
the guy
denied.
thought
Like,
you
the guy
guys were
just flat out
pranking
told
him
us,
because you
like,
couldn't stop giggling, right?
That was not my fault, though. Everyone else was laughing. Thor was laughing. Everyone was laughing. I started the laughter, but it wasn't my fault.
Oh, so good. Oh man, what about you, Mr. Party Pyro? Up there, I know you hit him good and hard, huh?
I did. One of the things that I really like to meet new people and interact with them and network. Like it's just what I do. I'm business minded. I've been in sales for like 7 years, so it's just natural for me, and I really get a kick out of it. Um, sometimes it ends up resulting in me losing my voice a little bit, but rarely. That was mostly because E3, we were on the show floor for like 10 hours straight, basically. So that's really what did it. But one of the big things about like going out and partying, like my secret is drinking water all the time. Drink water constantly, and you'll be fine. And for a lot of people, like Noarbot mentioned in chat, like he likes sleep a lot, and that's fine. Just make sure you're getting enough sleep, and if you're going to go party, look at how much sleep you normally get and say, okay, I usually like to get 9 hours of sleep. So then plan your schedule out. Like I actually plan this shit out. Like I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the party until such and such time, and then I gotta go because I gotta make sure I get some sleep. My minimum is like 5 to 6 hours. So as long as I get 5 to 6 hours, usually take an aspirin before I go to bed, drink a couple glasses of water, good to go in the morning after I get some breakfast.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that's really important to remember those limits because it's easy to get to these things and want to just go, go, go and party, party, party. The problem is you're gonna find yourself burning out very, very quickly.
And don't get too hammered. And like I know a lot of people have a hard time pacing themselves. I'm one of those people where like I like basically track how many drinks I've had. I'm like, okay, I know I've had this many drinks in this many hours, and I've had this much water, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, you can really actually avoid hangovers, but still have a great time.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just to give you guys an idea, the schedule that we were working was essentially 9:30 to 10 o'clock at night, nonstop on the show floor. After the show floor closed, we did like after the door closes, like an international event, which was all incredible. Those were so cool to do. But it was, like Pyra said, we were on our feet for 10 hours. So it's really, really important to make sure you're taking those breaks and you're drinking water and you're having throat lodgings and mints and taking breaks. Again, it is really easy to burn out at these things, and thankfully I don't think anyone really did. Everyone really paced themselves quite well. We were all kind of on top of each other for breaks, which was really cool because the community coaches, you end up being this incredible unit and this incredible mini machine within the booth and Motiga's company, which I love personally so much how well organized we all were able to stay throughout the days, and nobody wanted to kill each other, and it was great. We were such a good machine. From what I understand, the other events also work very, very similarly and hopefully have the same kind of dynamic of that community coach machine.
Pretty much. Although I will say at this event, we only had 6 coaches. For 10 machines, and for how many hours we were doing, we probably needed more ultimately to make sure that we all had a little bit of extra downtime. But at the same time, all of us put in like 120% and just nailed it. And at other events like East and South, like we had a heck of a lot more coaches available. So, it was a lot easier to schedule things and like get time to see the show floor. Like I saw maybe a third of the things that were there.
If that,
Exactly, if that. But that's okay because we still had an amazing time introducing Gigantic to a bunch of new friends, and that was super fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me get to just we kind of touched on what it was all like, but I mean, is there anything you want to add as to what the event was like and how it was for you guys personally? And also give us a little personal highlight. What was this? What was the moment, either on the floor, outside the floor, partying, that made you pause and go, "Wow, like this is it, cool." And we'll go ahead and start with Young. What was that like?
All right, so the actual coaching thing itself, that was pretty crazy because we very quickly realized that a lot of people who showed up to E3 and especially showed up to our booth, they're not gamers. Like, you know, by like nature. You know how like most of us are gamers. Like when we give all of us a controller in our hands and we know exactly where to put our fingers, where exactly to put our thumbs, and how to control it and all that. A lot of people had difficulty with the controller, and it was like really cool because you could see like these are people who not necessarily play video games constantly, but they have such an interest in video games that they want to come out and check us out, and they found our game. And one of the weird thing was the trailer for our game did nothing. It was just like really colorful. It was really pretty to look at, but like there was no idea. Like no one knew what kind of game it was. So like all these people would show up to that booth and be like, I don't know anything about Gigantic. I just know the trailer's very pretty, and I want to find out what it is because it's so pretty. And then the whole like teaching them from like step one all the way over to like getting them in the game and actually having them take the wound and summon creatures and kill enemies and all that kind of stuff. Like everything was really crazy, but just like watching, I guess, like myself like adapt to that very quickly was really cool. Because my very first instinct was, like how can these people not be at E3, but how can they not know how to use a controller? And then like that was like I immediately realized that was like the wrong mindset to have. I was like, this is the opportunity to show them how amazing Gigantic is, even if you've never held a controller before. And like that mindset just like switched really quickly for me. And then once I got into that kind of frame, like everything else just kind of fell into place. As for like the one instance that like stuck out to me personally was we had like I think it was like 6 hours of coaching, and then like I took a very very short break, and the break was like 15 minutes. It's just enough to sprint all the way across the LA Convention Center from our booth in the West Hall all the way to the South Hall to go to Natsume Inc. Their games. And if you guys don't know, one of my favorite game series is Harvest Moon, and Natsume Inc. had this giant chicken, cow, and dog plushie, and like there was this like big like area like where you could like perfectly just like sit between the dog and the cow and like take a picture. So I like sprinted all the way across the convention center, took a picture, and sprinted all the way back before I had to go coach again. So that was like my best thing.
Oh, that was so cool. That was so cool. I'll have to bring up that picture while we hear from Exapo. Tell us.
Yeah. So, I don't really know. I think everything was fun, so it's kind of hard to like judge. A lot of my favorite memories came from like not working on the show floor and stuff like that, so it's kind of hard to like judge. But I mean, besides being on the show floor, all I really did was stay by the Gigantic booth. I headhunted for the streamer Celeste and discovered that there's way more blonde people on the West Coast than there is on the East Coast, so I was unable to find my true love. But I broke my phone, so I guess that was a highlight. I mean, I think the best thing was honestly we were talking about like playing, like trying to teach the game to people that really never held a controller and stuff, and I think that was probably the most fun I had was playing with those people because they just like didn't know how to turn the camera or like turn the character, and they would only run straight left or right and like backwards and never like turn their rotation, but like they were killing people every once in a while, so it was just like funny to me like watching that. And then, like, just, like, watching how excited they would get over, like, dying and stuff like that. Like, it was just way too fun just watching how excited people got over doing bad. And it was just like, you're making me ant. And one of the best times was I was playing with this, like, it was during the international night. Thor had, like, this little Australian girl. And she was, like, freaking out about playing. And she was, like, screaming and yelling. And I had this guy playing Trip. And he's like, I swear, the only swear he knew in English was the F-bomb. And he's just dropping that F-bomb, like, left and right. And he's getting Thor's girl, like, all excited. And then he's screaming the F-bomb more, like, the only English swear to ever come out of this guy's mouth was just the F-bomb consistently, and it was just hilarious. And that was probably my favorite time down at E3.
Awesome, awesome. What about you, Blaine? What was yours?
I mean, the whole thing was a highlight for me, obviously, because it's E3, it's crazy, it's huge. We got to see all sorts of stuff that's not even out yet. Like, I mean, we got to play Battleborn, that was so cool. But I'd have to say, like, for me, it was actually a few different moments that were all mega highlights because of how cool they are. What are you doing, Zappo?
What is happening? Just he just always has people at his house.
It's room cam.
Yeah,
it's room cam.
He just never doesn't have a million people at his house.
Fair enough. So, my biggest highlight, I'd say, was, well, not biggest, but like there's a few different ones, and one of them was day one on the show floor. I'm standing there and I'm coaching somebody, and then all of a sudden I hear behind me, "Hey, Pyro, what's up?" And I turn around, and three of some of my favorite dudes in the internet were standing there: Tiger Rider, Death Sculpt, and Scarfino, who are all partnered Twitch streamers they have amazing beards and good friends of mine on the internet. They were all there, and now they're not just friends on the internet, they're real life friends. So I got to meet those guys and hang out with them. Like, I couldn't hang out with them at the time because I was in the middle of coaching, but we got together later at the Twitch party and had a blast, and I got to meet some, just really, for me, it was just meeting all these people that I had met like online and made friends with, and like Frida Wolf, who's a voice actress who's incredibly talented. She's done a lot of work. Most recently, Evolve. She's Kyra on Evolve and the announcer on Evolve. She's super duper rad, and she just came up to me and gave me a big hug, and just meeting those people and getting to like make new friends was really what the biggest highlights were for me.
Awesome. Yeah, that was huge for me too. Was meeting everyone outside, like you guys.
Oh,
yeah.
And Thor introduced me to Strippin.
Oh,
that was pretty cool.
That's super
Strippin
cool.
is a rad guy.
That's awesome. That is so cool for like a little social butterfly like you. You could not have had a more perfect time to do that. Yeah.
That's what I do.
I think. For me, one of the highlights was we did again the international event. Like, so much cool stuff happened, and one of them was I was helping this guy play and all this stuff, and I was telling him about our EU community and all this stuff. And after the game, he turns to me and in the most sincere tone I've ever heard was, "I want to bring your game to the Turkish people." And I don't know what it was about that I was like, oh my god, this game he likes our game so much, he wants to bring it to the people, to the masses, the Turkish masses, which is so cool because from what I understand, Turkey has like a big esports community. They love it. They have their own LCS. So that was a really, really, really cool moment. That and meeting 500,000 cosplayers, having luncheons and talking about the future of gigantic cosplay in a very professional, very real setting, and that probably for me was one of the biggest highlights, was that luncheon and discussing gigantic plans and all of that. Oh, hello, Aya. Yeah, so welcome to Backcap. We are discussing E3 as community coaches and what it was like for us to experience E3 with Motiga. So welcome. You're about halfway through the show. Whatever, you're gonna have to just deal with coming in halfway through a show and all that. So yeah, so that was a big highlight for me was that, and again meeting people that I have known for quite a while online, and meeting them and hugging them and feeling their faces and watching Zappo gently touch Troy's hand every time he tried to talk was also, I think.
Oh my goodness!
So
that was. That's a story, but I'm not sure if it's appropriate for a story.
It's so good.
You might get shut down by Twitch police.
Well, I mean, this part is appropriate. Every time Troy does a lot of hand talking. He's kind of like me, does a lot of hand talking, and every once in a while he'll just kind of hold out his hand, just be like, like, what's up with that? And then he'll just leave his hands there. And then every time Zappo, who's not paying attention, saw that, Zappo would just like try to like, so imagine like this is Troy's hand out there. Zappo would just kind of like tenderly just be like, and then like try to grasp his
I was
hand, and
good
Troy's
at
just
it.
like, oh, oh.
Oh,
It was
Every time,
beautiful.
every
It was
chance I
so
got.
beautiful.
oh,
I'm good at
Every
it.
time it happened, I lost my mind. It was
I
so
was
fucking good.
so good. That's so I'm in the middle of making a coach survival guide, and that's in there as something to do while you're at these events. Is just like, and it was always in the middle of like serious pep talk time. Like, all right, guys, so here's the
yeah.
game plan, and then you just see this hand just like slowly.
The thing
like,
is,
stroke.
he acted like he hated it, but he loved it, and the only reason he freaked out was it was like too emotional, like it was like too like intimate. Like I was just like come out of nowhere and just slowly like hold his hand, and it would like stay there for a second or two, and then he'd freak out about it. And like you gotta get him when like he's holding like his phone and he's got like the loose grip, and you can go like in behind the phone like this, and then like he grips it and then holds onto your hand. Like you gotta get him. It takes time to figure it out. I'm good at it. So.
Yeah.
It's a gift.
Man, in-depth strategies right here coming from Zappo.
Oh man. So speaking of things people didn't expect to happen, what did you guys not expect? Was there anything that kind of caught you off guard? Anything that you were like, oh, I didn't think it was going to be quite like this, or any events? What were you surprised about, Blaine? Tell me about it.
Surprised about? Oh man. Well, I mean, a lot of people were probably expecting me to say like big things like, Final Fantasy 7, whatever, blah, like that's awesome, and I'm glad that it's a thing. But what I was most surprised about, and the part that made me really happy as somebody who is very passionate about indie games, was seeing all the indie games being supported by massive publishers. Like Microsoft had a whole bunch, of course, including Gigantic, in their booth. Flame in the Flood was there, which I backed. I'm very excited for Flame in the Flood. Mighty Number 9.
Yeah.
Mighty Number 9 is a spiritual successor to Mega Man. For those of you who don't know, look it up. It's amazing. I got to play it, and I love it. I cannot wait for it to come out in September. Cuphead, look this one up too, guys. It's amazing. It looks like 1930s, like Steamboat Willie kind of cartoon, but it is a platformer, and it's a very challenging platformer, kind of like the old school Mega Man's, but it plays very well in a modern sense in terms of the controller. And I absolutely loved Cuphead. I got to play that for a bit, and I lost my mind. It was so great. Super Hot was another one. Look that up. It's like I can't really explain Super Hot. You just got to watch it. So just seeing all these indie games, I loved it. It blew my mind. I had such a great time checking out those indie games and interacting with indie game developers. Like I got to meet the guys that made Shovel Knight. Like
That's
it was
so
cool. It was so cool. They were great.
Very, very cool. Example, before you set yourself on fire, what was some things that either game-wise or the booth-wise or however that you did not expect? Oh God!
Oh, here we
Oh,
go.
it happened! I told
Jeremy's
you.
here.
Oh,
So
my
I'm gonna
There he
talk
is.
over this excitement while Relic gets
okay.
connected.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and
gonna
fix
get
this
some
while you
water.
talk.
Yeah, that sounds good. So,
God damn it!
I guess the thing I wasn't mentally prepared for was like just talking to people and then being like,
Oh,
"Oh,
Relic.
hey, I'm a dev and I'm like I work at Blizzard," and it's like, "Oh wow, I just talked to you for like an hour and then you just told me you're a Blizzard dev and I'm like a Blizzard fanboy, so this is awkward." And like stuff like that. That stuff was fun, but I was more excited just seeing the hype around Gigantic. Like that was really the only reason I was there. I honestly, no shots fired. Didn't really care about any other game there besides Gigantic. Star Wars Battlefront looked cool, but didn't play it. What else looked cool? That was probably it. Star Fox looked cool, but it was just Star Fox. If anything, Nintendo, you seriously let me down because you released nothing cool at E3. And yeah, basically Gigantic hype. That's all I got. Bang.
Excellent.
Zappo out.
Oh, I like it. That was perfect. Uh-oh, what happened here? Where's my... There we go.
Oh no.
Yes, I'm
The
just
layout's
trying to
ruined.
fix stuff. I apologize. I knew this was going to happen. I just didn't quite expect it so suddenly. Move to bottom. Okay. Right? Alright, so we have Relic with us, singing, of course, because what else does he do? Relic, so, well, I'm getting this UI fixed in a panic. Tell us,
Yes, ma'am.
what were some things that you didn't quite expect, or things that you wish you had been more prepared for? Any kind of weird surprises at E3?
Well, I run with reckless abandon, so surprises are, my jib. But I think the one thing that really got me was how friendly and willing a lot of the other developers and individuals, even the press, the retail, the fans, were in coming up and just joining our family. I think we did a fantastic job in representing the community and getting people, these developers and retail and press involved in the community that we have going. And I think they felt the love that we want to share in building this family.
Excellent. And how about you, Mr. Young?
I just ate like an Altoid, so it's like hitting me. Let's see. The thing that surprised me most, let's see, it would probably have to be how well Relic dresses.
Oh, best answer.
All right, so let's see. The biggest thing that surprised me was just how like everyone said, just how friendly everyone was when you showed up at the booth. There was this one event on, I believe, the second day where I think it was Xbox or no, like Microsoft as a whole. They had this big Xbox community thing for like all these community managers. I forget what they were, but they were like specific people who were like helping tech support issues.
They were
with,
Microsoft retail employees, a program that a lot of people will know externally as the Expert Zone. So people from Best Buy, GameStop, basically any sort of like probably Fry's Electronics, things like that. Basically people who are employees of retail chains that are Microsoft, ambassadors. Like these guys know all their stuff and they know all the games and they're there to, help people, get into the games. So retail zone experts is what they're called technically.
So there was this event where like all these people were invited. And they had like Halo and Division and Gears of War, like all the popular stuff was there. And then we had a couple of those people come to our game and they never heard about us. And they were like the sweetest, the nicest, and the most awesome people you could ever imagine. Like they're like, I'm super excited. Your game looks amazing. Can I try it? And we're like, oh sure, definitely. We've been standing for like 12 hours already by that point. But just their enthusiasm and how happy they were to see us there, it renewed or gave us all a second win. And we kind of played a few games with them, and they were just like so cool. I'm like, these guys right here, they need to get into the alpha, they need to get into the beta, they need to get into whatever thing that Motiga's got going. Like they need to get in there, and this is the kind of community we want because everyone was just so friendly and so nice, and that just Microsoft having that kind of a program was something that completely just surprised me because I didn't know they did that kind of stuff, and now I do, and more plus respect in my books.
Excellent. Oh God, Exapo, why is everything always terrible in his life? So that surprised me. That was something that surprised me was Exapo going 100 miles an hour 24/7. Like this kid never slowed down. That really took me by surprise because there were nights that I sat on my bed and then woke up the next morning and then I'd hear about him jumping on the bed and still being wired. I'll never forget, we got out at 10:30 out of the expo hall one night and I'm looking around and this goddamn kid is running in the middle of the parking lot, weaving between pylons or whatever and just ah! After
awesome.
Being on his feet for 12 hours and screaming for 12 hours at people on how to use their controllers properly, and he is just still the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, I could have gone for a whole nother 2 days of E3. I was mentally prepared for it.
Yeah, so youth. You're...
Yeah.
So,
No more. Those days are long gone. It hits 10. I'm like, I need to sleep. I don't care about the after parties. I don't care about the VIP parties. I just want to go to bed and sleep and pass out.
If I gotta go, if I was old enough for the after parties, you guys would have saw the best nights of your life.
Oh, that's so good. So,
Next time, Zappo, you and me.
Next time.
There
Next
you go.
time,
There you
definitely.
go. Yeah. Yeah. I think. I think I'm with you guys on this. That what surprised me was how sweet the people are. I was a little nervous because it was a lot of media, and that's a very scary word, and a lot of internet people, and that's really scary. But I didn't really have any negative experiences as far as the people went, or really in general at all. I think the worst day that I had was I had a stomach ache. Oops. And that's it. And that's really it. Out of all of E3 and with so many people and personalities, there's a big chance of having a lot of negativity, and there just wasn't. People were there to play games. They were there to write articles, and nobody was terrible at all. And it's terrible to be surprised by that, but it kind of, I was like, oh, okay. Very cool. Very, very nice. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them, and we'll get to them as soon as we can for any of our coaches or anything in general. All right. So tell us, guys, how terrible are the Motegans? They were just the worst. How
Oh my
terrible!
God, Troy Hewitt. I
Oh my
freaking hate that guy.
Oh my goodness. Here we go.
No, they are all freaking amazing. I think some of the most fun I had was with Alex and Scott because I
Yeah.
never met them before, and Alex was also a fellow Rhode Islander, so we were just straight up busting Scott's balls the whole time from being from Utah.
Yeah,
So
that
was
dinner.
super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was funny.
Also, it's also always great to see James Finney and Chris Chung because as high up and important those are, I can't. I'm busy right now. As high up and important those guys are, they are like the most nonchalant, greatest people I've ever met in my life. And I'm gonna stop there, but yeah, the Motegans are great. Go ahead, gang.
All right, Jeremy, tell us how awful Motegans are.
So Troy talks about my mother too much. I'll come out with that one, but I gotta get him back. So I got the opportunity to really pick the Motegans' brains and really mine some information. I used it as a really educational experience, and I got to talk to Finney. I got to talk to Chris Chung. I got to talk to Shannon, even Jeannie. All of the I think I only missed. Carter and Joe, I didn't sit them down because they were having too fun that night. I didn't want to get in the middle of it. But they were all, super genuine and just really looking to share the love and help us out. They were super what's the word, patient with me and all of my questions, and that shows a lot. That shows a lot from a company. And yeah, I mean, we just can't share enough of the love of these guys. These guys are great, and they really represent the integrity and the family atmosphere, the love that they're really trying to make for this community. They really walk the walk and talk the talk. They're all good on that.
Excellent.
Me and Troy went to the bathroom together in different urinals, but like really close to each other.
Thank
So
you
we
for
had that
clarifying that
bar.
it was different urinals.
No problem. It popped in my head. It was different urinals. I let him pick out of the 4, and I made sure I went
Uh-huh.
right next to him. And if you're a guy, you know you don't do that. So
Yeah, you broke the bro code.
You're
In the
you're
best way
rude.
Oh
possible.
my goodness.
totally
rude
broke the broken.
person.
But good.
Oh my
I'm
god.
sorry.
Yeah, Blade, could you take us off this bathroom talk? Lead us into your own Motegan stories.
You know what? I have a unique privilege of being very close to the studio, so I've visited them many times. So I actually know pretty much everybody who was there. I had met them previously, except for Hobbs. I hadn't met him yet. And what the hell, Zappo? I don't even. But I had so I had a really good time. Just getting to kind of hang out with everybody again, and Jeannie in particular, she was one of the first people that I met. Mo Lavendier, for people who don't know in the stream, her real name. She was one of the first people that I had met at Motiga. I met her at the announcement party, and I walked right up to her and I said, what you guys are doing is amazing, and I want to get involved. And so, I talked to Jeannie a bunch there and helped her out a little bit at the event. Like they were doing tear down, and I was just like, oh, well, here, I'm tall. I can get this poster that's up on the wall. And so, Jeannie saw that and, invited me in to be part of the Motiga family. So that in particular, I always really like, as amazing as Troy and everybody else is, Jeannie is kind of like the Motiga mom. So she's always
She
really,
really is.
really awesome.
Oh, I love her. And what about you, Mr. Young?
Man, I come from a completely different industry. So for those of you guys who don't know me, I am a former teacher. I used to teach high school. So like video games, it's something I played, but like nothing I know about. So like being able to meet the developers of Gigantic in person and like shake their hand and was like, you're actually real. You're not just a username on the screen. You're like an actual human being. Was really crazy. There was also the whole like you have your name and then you got your online name, and I keep getting those mixed up. That was pretty interesting. But yeah, the Vaticans are great. I don't know how else to say it. They're great. They're really a little bit crazy in some ways. I'm still
A lot
not
of
completely
it.
convinced that the Motigans aren't actually little dinosaurs in like human skin,
Reptids? Did you
because how crazy they
Reptids?
can get. Those little Motigas, right? That was in the trailers and stuff, right? Like I'm pretty sure like every single one of the Motigans is actually made up of those, and they just like wear like a human skin on top of themselves. But no, they're amazing. Also, I got to meet Thor in person for the first time after having been like after having seen him online for almost, I think it's like 2 years now. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
But it's crazy. So like getting to meet someone that I like really look up to and just highly value was really cool. He's a lot bigger in person. Like it felt like he could just like just crush like your entire like my head just like between his two palms, just like that.
That's my
He's
impression of
huge.
Thor is no neck. He's just shoulder
But
and
yeah,
arms.
they're yeah, everyone's great. I mean, besides echoing what everyone else has already said, they're really cool. I really wish everyone has a chance to meet the devs in person.
Yeah, they're awesome. Love you, new BFF, Scott. Love you. Moyak, he's where it's at. I love that kid. We've had many talks.
Scott is a really amazing guy.
God, yeah. I mean, they really all are. Honestly, I looked at Jeannie on the Last Supper, and we looked at her, and she goes, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "It's the last day." And all of a sudden, I was just sobbing on like Jeannie's shoulder, just. Oh my God, the glass case of emotion that happens on the last night of these events are unbelievable, and it's because of the coaches and that you get to know and the Motigans that you meet, and you realize how hospitable they are and how much of a human company they are, that it gets really really overwhelming at the last night to be like, wow, this is it. And then it's exciting again because there's more conventions to be had, and that's awesome too. But yeah, I remember just sobbing. And so creepy, Xapo. I don't understand your life ever. I just don't understand.
My life doesn't make sense. It's okay.
So, all right. So we're nearing our time. We only have about 10 minutes left. I don't have an art spotlight or a community coach spotlight. We basically are one big community coach spotlight this week. So, I mean, you guys would do it again, right? Can we get an aye or a nay? Yeah.
10-10. We'll do again.
13 out of 6.
10-10.
Math is hard.
Only if I can get my mom jokes ready. I gotta get my mom jokes ready.
All right.
If anything, we gotta go more prepared to keep up with Troy, because Troy's been in the industry so long that like anything you say, you already have to come back.
Oh
to
my
it.
God, he is so.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Between like
So
him
true.
and Joe, it's just rapid fire.
Oh yeah, Joe's a hard hitter, man.
Yeah,
He's got
he
a line
is.
for everything.
Joe's good. Joe's
Everything.
freaking awesome.
Everything. So as we wrap it up, do you guys have any advice for fellow coaches or coach hopefuls for these events? Go
It
ahead.
was like it. It was Wizards. I'm sorry.
I don't even know what
Start
Zappo
it,
just said.
Zappo.
I hate him so much. Young, do you have any advice for the good people out there listening?
Well, for coach hopefuls, if you want to be a coach, the very first thing is you have to get involved. You have to put in the time, you have to put in the effort,
It's a lot of
and
work.
ultimately, at the end of the day, it's all about priorities. If being a coach is high up there on your priority, you got to be willing to put in time and effort. And it's not just time and effort into playing the game, but it's also getting involved with the community, getting people to, when you say things like, or when someone asks a question like, I don't know what this is, or I don't know what this means, and then you notice that no one around them is helping them. Be the guy to take the initiative. Say, hey, let me take you into a game, and let me help you with this. And just be friendly. That's like the biggest thing. If you're friendly to everyone else, everyone else will be friendly right back to you. And there's no need to try to become like MLG pro, gigantic player or whatever. If you want to be a coach, being a coach doesn't have anything to do with how good of a player you are. It's just how knowledgeable you are and how friendly you are and how well you're able to convey that knowledge. So be friendly, know the game, and take the initiative to help other people out.
Okay, excellent. Let's
Yeah,
see.
pretty much what Sir Goodmood said. Like that's it in a nutshell, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremy and Kyle, do you have anything to add to any advice you want people to hear when going to these events? Anything for coach hopefuls or coaches who may not have gone to these events?
Well, if you're attending anything and I'm there, find me. I'm a blast in a glass. So that's priority number one. Number two, you go 150%, 24/7, no off switch. Jumping jacks, priority. Genie and Arya will not do jumping jacks with you. Fun
No.
fact. But you can still do them by yourself. And if you go, don't pull a me and say you're gonna film stuff for E3 and then like film like 3% of it.
Yeah.
Try and film more than 3% of it. That's basically all I got. But just have fun because it's fun.
And how about yourself, Jeremy?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think it's really important. I'm going to go off of what Yang said a little bit. I think it's really important for people to realize that if you're on the game box or in the community or at an event like E3 or PAX, you're representing the company. You're representing your your fellow coaches or Motiga and all of the people who are in the community. And it's really important to give off that vibe and that atmosphere when you're interacting with the folks at these conventions or when you're just playing the game. How would you like to? It's like the golden rule. How would you like to be treated? Let's make a family, and you have to represent that. You have to have the integrity within yourself to try to do that and to make this atmosphere. What we're really trying to shoot for.
Mm-hmm. Any last words, Pyro? I know you're always full of wisdom. Look at him stroking the beard. He's ready for it.
I mean, as far as any sort of community oriented wisdom goes, one of the best things that I repeat that Troy first said to me. He's like, and it really resonated with me because I hadn't really found this phrase for it until like he said it to me, and I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. And he said, we're here to make new friends, and that just like. Just right in the feels. I was like, that is exactly what we're here for, and that's exactly what we're doing, and that's what this community is about. So it's
Amen. Absolutely. That's exactly it. I think that's a great summary of it all, and remember that
That's exactly it.
That's okay.
That's exactly it.
That's exactly it.
Wow.
That's funny. You're a funny guy, Zappo. And that's another thing. Like,
I'm serious.
You're here in this community for you, and there's no need to ever try hard to be you because you're great. Be great. Be lovely. We love you guys, and we love you guys for you. And that's what I really like about this community and being a part of it is the acceptance. And I'm not gonna cry. I swear to God, it's just because I'm sick and I'm all. I'm actually just sniffling. I swear to God, shut up, young. but really, we love you guys. And hopefully we'll be seeing more of you around the cons. And that's gonna wrap it up for this week's Backcap.
F is for friends
And-
who do stuff together. E is for you and me.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
N is for
N is for anywhere.
and
And it's
anytime.
all- Is that
Yeah.
copyrighted?
And
Should we not
here.
be singing that?
I think it is.
I hope not.
Oh, too late. Too late.
Down here in the great E3. Woo!
Woo!
Awesome.
Yeah, so anyway, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you, Pyro, Relic, Zappos, or Good Mood. Thank you, Spirit Gas Mask, for all your hard work. You guys were just such a treat to be with and to become this well-oiled, hilarious machine. Even if we can't order pizza or have nice things, that's okay. It was absolutely phenomenal. Thank you for Motiga for giving us all this incredible opportunity. Thank you to the viewers who are there and watching us and who support Motiga and support the community coaches and us. You guys also rock so hard. We much appreciate it. Fellas, feel free to pimp yourselves out in here in the chat room. And you can also find us at GG_Unleashed on Twitter and at GGUnleashed.com. And you can find me personally at Sherpa Superhero. And yeah, thanks again. Look for more pictures and more videos, and we'll catch you next time, fine folk. Cheers, everyone.
All right.
Goodbye.
Cheers.
Say goodbye, you
Bye.
unsocial plebeians.
Wait, social stuff? Are we doing social stuff?
Bye.
Good night, everyone. Have a good one.